Welcome to Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. It's a 2 for Tuesday. That means it's our second stream. Welcome. Glad to have you. A little bit more lighthearted this time around. Let's start it right off. Santos is stepping down from the 2 committees he's been assigned to. Oh boy. I love it. I don't care what his reasons are. I'm just glad that he's not going to be making as many decisions for the American people. He should not be in charge of making decisions for a toddler, much less an entire country. So, delighted that he is not going to be on the Science, Space, and Technology Committee or the, what was the other one? Oh, right, the House Small Business Committee. Boy, does he not deserve to be on either of those. This was covered on The Damage Report with John Iadarola. I hate the way they title their videos, but I love the way they cover the events of the day. Let's have a look at what they said about it.
Representative George Santos apparently told the House GOP conference on Tuesday behind closed doors that he wants off the 2 committees that he's currently on until his issues are resolved. And I think what he means by that is people stop asking him questions. I'm assuming at this point that his issues will never truly be resolved. They seem baked quite deep into him. But anyway, as of right now, he's serving on the small business and the science committees. And he apparently doesn't want to do that for now. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia told CNN that it was Santos's decision that he made on his own to abstain from the committees. I've literally never heard of anyone doing this before, but she said he told the conference he would step aside from the committees as the GOP is trying to oust Democratic Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota from the Foreign Affairs Committee. She said specifically, he just felt like there was so much drama really over the situation, and especially what we're doing to remove Ilhan Omar from the Foreign Affairs Committee. But Mr. Santos' statement in there was just saying that he spoke with Speaker McCarthy and made this decision on his own. So,
before they get into it further, he felt like there was so much drama. Okay, there was drama. There was also attention. His claims cannot stand up to scrutiny, and the more he is in the public light, the more legal danger he's in. But to be clear, I don't think there's any saving him at this point. He has so blatantly broken the law on multiple occasions, so publicly, and I can't fathom him getting away with it. Further, he broke the law against the only people you're really not allowed to in the U.S., which is other rich people, when he fleeced Kevin McCarthy's donors for money. So add on to that his filing of campaign finance forms that were fraudulent, putting somebody's name on there that wasn't involved at all. The fact that he still has yet to account for that $700,000 donation. It's just wild, man. It's wild. There's no way he's going to make it past a jury, which I believe he will be put in front of soon. Possibly before Trump, even though I think charges are imminent with him as well. Well, apparently Fani Willis thinks charges are imminent regarding him.
I think tying this, for whatever reason, to their ridiculous xenophobic, Islamophobic attempt to get Ilhan Omar off of her committee is weird. They really do want to stress that this was his decision and not Kevin McCarthy's, which that actually makes me maybe think that Kevin McCarthy did push for it. Why are they being so explicit about that? One would think a decision that a congressman announces was his decision. It seems defensive, like they don't want the MAGA people to know that Kevin McCarthy was pushing for one of the big liars in their party off. I don't know. I'm a little bit confused, at least, but what do you think?
I mean, don't you know George Santos is against the drama? He wants to back away from it all. Of course, he wants to just avoid anything. I honestly couldn't tell you, but this is the first I'm hearing about it. But I think you're right. It is just a way to distance Kevin McCarthy from any decision making, which is
was a poor time to transition myself there. So I have questions about this that they're talking about right now, and it's not addressed in the video anywhere. I'd be interested to know what you've heard amongst your community. Is MAGA really behind George Santos? I realize that they're happy to put up with him for the sake of playing unfair and having the numbers. But would they care if Kevin McCarthy booted him off a seat? Would they even understand what that is what the consequences of that would be? I honestly don't know. I do not know.
It just seems like something he wouldn't necessarily want. I don't think he likes that he's being perceived as this spineless figure, but more and more decisions that are coming out of the House don't seem to associate with him. And this is just another example.
Yeah. There's a lot that I am fully willing to admit that I don't understand about this and that I'm not sure about. But if I can say definitively, I do not buy that he doesn't like drama. Come on, this guy. Didn't he, when like his boyfriend was gonna leave him, he was like, "Oh, I bought us tickets for a big vacation down to South America," and it was totally made up. He didn't have the tickets or whatever. Like, come on. Then he stole the guy's phone. You love the drama, and that's fine. Lots of people do. That might be the most endearing thing about George Santos. But no, I think, look, if anything, this is Kevin McCarthy wanting to not have another interview like he had with Margaret Brennan, which I understand.
Definitely.
It was brutal. Him wanting to recede from the spotlight a little bit, thinking maybe that gets people to move on and forget about me. Or number three, the dude doesn't really want to work. He doesn't want to work on like marking up legislation and coming up with amendments and late night vote-oramas and all that. He wants like the benefits and he wants the cred without the work. So I don't know. I think he might just be using this as an opportunity to get out of some homework.
So, first of all, any assessment of the GOP these days that involves having a lower opinion of them, I think, is more likely to be accurate. The idea that he would leave these committees, at least in part, simply because he doesn't want to do work, doesn't see how he can personally, financially gain from them, I'd buy that. But John Iadarola said something interesting. I want to go back just a bit before we wrap up this. Let me see if I can hear him say it again.
Up legislation and coming up.
No. Kevin McCarthy.
You love the drama, and that's fine. Lots of people do. That might be the most endearing thing. His boyfriend was going to leave him. He was like, "Oh," and that I'm not sure about. But if I can say definitively, I do not buy that he doesn't like drama.
Okay, so this is the part with Kevin McCarthy.
They're coming out of the House don't seem to associate with him. And this is just another example.
Yeah. There's a lot that I am fully willing to admit that I don't understand about this and that I'm not sure about. But if I can say definitively, I do not buy that he doesn't like drama.
Okay, apparently not. Without the artistry then. He was saying that Kevin McCarthy, one possibility is that McCarthy did kick out Santos, and that his reasoning might have been that he doesn't want another interview where he gets grilled over Santos. It benefits us a ton to remember that the press is a big part of how America works. It also benefits us to remember that the press is reliant on your views to exist. They're reliant on pleasing you to exist, just like politicians are reliant on your votes. Therefore, if you want to see more reporters digging in hard to GOP politicians, any politician, frankly, if you see a bad example of it, if you see, let me show you what I'm talking about. If you see an example of this happening, write in the news station and tell them, I was disappointed. If you want me to be a viewer, you have to do better. If you see this happening, sir, I understand that you stole X money from, in fact, you stole the wallet of that guy over there. What do you have to say about that? Politician says, well, listen, in America, the important thing to remember is that all sides need to be represented. And in fact, all sides need to be able to speak up. And I was elected to represent the people of my district, and that's what I'm here to do. So they want to distract with all kinds of accusations. You let them, because all sides need to be represented, including the people of my district. Does that sound exactly like things you hear politicians say all the time? Asked a direct question, rambles about nothing, then pretends like they answered. And if the reporter does this, and what are you planning on doing next in the committee, sir? They just accept that and move on. They don't say, no, wait, whoa, I didn't ask you about representation. I asked you, did you take that guy's wallet? In fact, we just saw you take that guy's wallet. Explain to us why you did that. That's good reporting versus the earlier example, not good reporting, not pressing them. Why does that happen? Because if you're CNN, if you're Fox, what you don't want to have happen is that representative not interviewing with you anymore, because they know that you're going to press them and do real news. They don't want that. And if they're not going to interview with you, well, then how are you going to get ratings? How are you going to get content? But there's no point in doing the interview if you don't ask serious questions. So hold your news agencies accountable. All of them on their websites present some way for you to contact them. Go to the contact part of their websites and literally just write them an email. If you see somebody letting a politician get away, that is called a gish gabble, just talking about nonsense to burn up time and confuse people. If you see a politician gish gabbling to a direct question and the reporter doesn't keep grilling them until they get an answer, write in and say you want better reporting, because that will affect the coverage. And in turn, that will affect the behavior of politicians. Got nothing but benefit. Well, no time like the present to get mad. Exxon Mobil reaped $56 billion in profits. Those are historic profits for the company in 2022. You may recall we had a gas crisis in 2022. They said they had to raise their prices just to keep the lights on for themselves. And yet, while you were suffering, Exxon made $56 billion in profit. Here's Reuters.
In a year when U.S. gasoline prices surged, ExxonMobil in 2022 took in an astronomical $56 billion in profit, setting not only a company record, but a historic high for the Western oil industry. That amounts to roughly $6.3 million an hour in profit last year. Exxon's results, which the company
Wait a minute. How much do you make an hour? What would you be willing to do to somebody else for $1 million? Exxon made $163 million an hour. An hour. And now we know what they'd be willing to do for that amount of money. They would be willing to trash the American economy. They would be willing to let you suffer. They'd be willing to let prices go up across the board as a result of the increased cost of transportation. They would be willing to do anything. And they are so poorly regulated that they were allowed to do it, and in fact make $163 million every hour. Got to get a hold of this.
reported on Tuesday, blew past its prior record of $45.2 billion of profit in 2008. But that was back when oil hit $142 a barrel, 30% higher than last year's average price.
Hold on. 2008 was the last record. You guys remember what was happening in 2008? Particularly in the U.S. and then shortly all around the world? They prey on America. We had the housing crisis kickoff. They made a whole movie about it, The Big Short. I highly recommend you watch it. Very awkward script, but great acting. Anyway, they prey on America when it's weakened, when they can, at any given opportunity. They're like a disease. And if you're in a condition as a country where you are weakened, the oil companies take advantage. Disgusting.
Deep cost cuts during the health crisis helped supercharge Exxon's earnings last year, as did soaring demand for oil as economies reopened. Russia's invasion of Ukraine also contributed to price spikes. Exxon's results may set up another confrontation with the White House. President Joe Biden has repeatedly blasted oil firms for pouring cash into shareholder payouts rather than increasing production to lower prices at the pump. Exxon on Tuesday said spending on new oil and gas projects bounced back last year to $22.7 billion, up 37% from the prior year. It also boasted that its cash flow from operations soared to $76.8 billion in 2022, up from $48.1 billion a year earlier. Exxon's results come ahead of what are expected to be strong earnings from Shell on Thursday and from BP and Total Energies next week.
Because they all robbed us. There were not regulations in place to make it illegal, but they robbed us. They took advantage of weak regulations and an opportunity in the market to take money out of your pockets, and it was money they did not need. Why was it money they didn't need? Because they were already profitable, and they got record profits when they knew it would hurt you. The only reason these companies still exist in the forms they do is culture. Because guess what? We have electric cars. We do not need to rely upon these companies anymore. I mean, technologically, we don't require them. We could all be driving electric cars. Why aren't we? Because there's not been a cheap electric car. That's it. The only reason. Culture. There's not been a demand for a cheap electric car because too many Americans, too many people around the world have been convinced that gasoline's the way to go. The infrastructure exists currently for gasoline vehicles. If you got an electric car and you wanted to go on a road trip, you wouldn't have a guarantee that you could charge it up. We need to start caring about this. Here's a great way to get started. Buy an electric car. If you are able, if you're in the market, I'm not saying go ditch your current car if you weren't already planning on it. But if you are planning on replacing your vehicle, take away power from this scum. Take away some of their power. Buy an electric car. Link in the description. There are tax credits. It's cheaper now for you to buy an electric car. You can get a tax credit for making that purchase. Take advantage of it. Assuming you don't go on frequent road trips and you simply can't afford to rent a gasoline car for such a road trip, by the way, is worthy of consideration in and of itself just for sparing your car the mileage. But moving along, if you're in a position where you can buy one, do it. And if you are, and if you're not in a position, either because you need to be able to drive long distances at the drop of a hat, across the country or whatever. All right, but keep in mind as the years drag on that these companies are not going to change. Exxon's not going to change. BP's not going to change. they're going to keep robbing us at every given opportunity, and we're supporting it. Right now, they affect policy that we make because of their legal bribes that they can do to politicians. Right now, they affect who we go to war with. They affect how we go to war because we are so reliant upon gasoline to make our military function. They simply need to have their power taken away. We can get it started. We get it started by choosing to buy a product which is not reliant on them. Links in description. If you are in a position to get an electric car, do that. It is the moral choice. It is the ethical choice. It is the correct choice. It's also financially the best choice. Cheaper to run them. That simple. Combine that with getting solar panels installed on your home, you can cut out these companies from your wallet entirely. Go for it. Change generally does not happen with one giant stroke in the U.S. It's in increments. It's in constant pressure over time. Put a little pressure on them, shrink their market. Let's do a palate cleanser. Just came across a fella by the name of Omar, let's see if I got this right, Agamy. He did a YouTube short taking a very dark truth about the United States and making light of it. Let's check it out.
How many guns do you have per 100 people? We're very strict about it. We got like 0.3 guns per 100 people. That's barely any. That's pretty good. We got like 3 per 100 people. Oh, same. It's strict here. We got like 3 guns per 100 people. It's a pretty good ratio, although your population is huge, so, you know, the number is going to be like big. Oh, we got 5 per 100 people. It's still strict here. Still a lot if you count your population, but good ratio though. Well, we got 12 guns per 100 people. Okay, yeah, you got them off. Yeah, makes sense. We got like 23 guns per 100 people. You, Sweden? Oh, we got 34 guns per 100 people. Canada, aren't your people like nice and stuff? Why do they own so many? Oh, we don't use it for humans. We like hunt and stuff. Oh, okay, makes sense. We got 120. US, it's per 100 people, you know? Yeah, there are more guns than people. What? Well, we got Ohio. That explains it.
Ha! Oh, the dig at Ohio at the end there. Oi. Yeah, I've seen a couple of his shorts. He's a funny guy. I would definitely recommend checking him out. I'm gonna look at some of his longer form videos, see if it's worth bringing into what you can do. Yeah, America has more guns than human beings in its border. That's rough. What can you do? Main thing, my God, vote Democrat. Republicans are a death cult at this point. They do not care that kids are shot in school. They do not care that people are shot when they go to concerts. They don't care about people getting shot in the grocery store. They don't care about people getting killed at all. They just do not care. Why? They're taking bribes from the NRA. Democrats mercifully take less bribes, but not none, but less bribes from the NRA, and vote for them. You don't want guns in the country, at least not more guns than human beings. My God. Vote Democrat. And for God's sake, if you want effective Democrats instead of the weak sauce that we've had for, let me just check, all of America's existence, or all of the Democratic Party's existence, then, you know, vote in primaries. Get some progressives in there. Well, slightly abridged because we did a shorter video at the end, but folks, it has been a lovely 2 for Tuesday. I enjoyed streaming with you tonight. I will, of course, be back tomorrow and the next day and the next day, and every day thereafter, or at least for the foreseeable future, at a minimum, until we get Trump behind bars. This has been WYCD Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. My name's Jake. I'll see you next time.